We'll call to order the October 5th meeting of the Michigan City Public Board of Works and Safety. Would everyone please rise for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, first on the agenda is approval of our minutes from our September 21st meeting. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the September 21st meeting.
Support. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next, we have request for street closure. Kevin Dewan from NICTY is requesting full street closure on Michigan Boulevard between Vale and Tryon Street, closure of eastbound 11th Street at the turning lane into Michigan Boulevard. NICTY will be replacing tracks and railroad ties at the intersection of 11th Street and Michigan Boulevard starting October 26th through November 3rd, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Do we have a representative from NICTY? Yes. And please state your name and address for the record, please.
Hello, my name is Kevin Dewan, engineer for Northern Indiana Commuter Transportation District, the South Shore Line. I'm here to request the board's approval for the closure of the intersection at Michigan Boulevard and 11th Street so we can replace the railroad track infrastructure and then repave. This is not part of double track.
Okay. Does any board member have any questions for NICTY at this point in time?
Mr. President, can you tell us, sir, what the exact date of the closure will be?
Our closure would begin on Monday, the 26th, so we can start ripping out the asphalt, build the panel, and then replace the panel on Wednesday, tamp, and pave in shortly after that. I've requested up to Tuesday the next week, just in case the weather goes bad. No surprises, at least.
Certainly, I understand. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Dewan? Okay, thank you, sir. I do know we have someone here from the public that would like to address this issue.
My name is Kenneth Purz. I'm here on behalf of Park Place Investments. We own real estate at 911 East 11th Street. It's directly in front of the area that NICTY would like to request their street closure for. And we have had a 20-year history. We've owned that property since 1999. We've had a 20-year history of problems with the sewer, and the Michigan City Sanitary District is well aware of the problem. It's both a problem with the city sewer line and the private lateral that we own. I'm not going to go into details. I can tell you that there is a pending tort claim with Michigan City Sanitary District, and I would request that before this board takes action to allow the street closure, that there be some dialogue with the Michigan City Sanitary District and perhaps me or my counsel. We do have counsel on this matter, so that we can reach resolve on the pending tort claim. Clearly, there's been a history of overweight railroad cars, city traffic, cars, trucks, etc. The problem is with the manhole that is out in the street. If the street's going to be tore up and the tracks are going to be replaced, I've never met this engineer from NICTY. I've never been made aware of the project until I looked at the agenda for today's meeting. And again, I'm seeking that the board, prior to taking action to allow this work to commence, that you table the issue so that some dialogue can take place, because if they're going to tear up everything, that's the time to address A, the sewer problem for the sanitary district, and B, potentially the private lateral that we have. And it would be in mutual interest of all parties to reach resolve to that when the street's being torn up.
Anyone have any questions for Mr. Purz?
Thank you, Mr. President. So you do have a residential property there now that is occupied?
Yes, it's a duplex unit at 911 East 11th Street. I did share with your chairman the beacon map location of that site, and you could see that it is directly in front of the area that they propose to close. And more importantly, where they propose to do this substantial work. And I don't know that any of the sewer issues have been addressed. I don't know that the sanitary district has had a chance to even review or consider this.
Well, I have a question for the, since we're discussing this, there's another microphone for the Nick the engineer.
Yes, sir. If you'd hit the button on the microphone to turn it on.
Turn it green.
Oh, it's on the bottom.
Sir, during the course of the work that you're going to do, you're going to dig up the existing ties or whatever they are, and you're going to replace them. How deep are you going to go with your excavation?
We'd be going about 8 to 12 inches below the top.
8 to 12 inches below the
So-
existing surface right now.
It would be approximately 2.5 feet then from the top of the asphalt now down.
Okay. Do you, now, just stay there if you would, please. How is that going to affect your existing sewer problem?
The existing sewer problem has probably been a result of a home that was built in 1900. And that entire sewer system for the sanitary district in that area flows into a common manhole that is deteriorated. And they have a history, the sanitary district has a history of backups and problems at that location, in addition to our history privately with D&M Excavating. I'm not an engineer, and I certainly wasn't around in 1900 when this work was done, but my guess is that there was not very much focus or stringent guidelines to the depth of the sewer lines or the condition of the sewer. And I think that if we're looking at redoing the railroad tracks, and I think the engineer said this is not part of the double track, that this is the time to address, if there is sewer issues there, this is the time to address it before NICD invests our money into redoing the tracks and redoing the ties in that area. This is something that should be addressed or looked at by folks more qualified than me. Engineers from the sanitary district should be working with NICD to make sure that if there is a problem there, that it be addressed while this is being torn up.
Okay, well, I don't see any effect they're going to have on this. I was totally unaware of the sewer issues that you mentioned, and it sounds to me, and I don't have any issues with what you're doing, it sounds to me like this is an attempt to get Michigan City Sanitary District and anyone else involved, get them off dead center.
Actually, it's not to get them off dead center. It's more to have the opportunity to address fixing a two-decade problem while we have the opportunity, while the street is torn up. That's really what it's about, because, again, the sanitary district's monies come from ratepayers. NICD money is partially public money, and certainly the city of Michigan City has some concern for the public. It's not just the private lateral that's the issue. There's an issue with the section of the sanitary district lines that get combined or cross in that area. And all I'm asking for is that this board consider this the opportunity for the engineers to take a close look at that so that if it does need to be repaired or replaced before they do the tracks, that takes place. I think it's in the mutual best interest of all the stakeholders that have an expense here.
Okay.
Again, I'm not asking that they don't do it. I'm asking that it's just tabled long enough to have that discussion with engineering from the sanitary district to make sure that all the parties are aware of the issue and the potential to address the issue while this is being torn up.
Okay, well, unless I'm wrong, Mr. President, we have another meeting this month before that 26th date, don't we?
Yeah, our next meeting will be October 19th.
How much in advance do you, Mr. Nichty, engineer, need? How much advance notice do you need of approval of the closure?
I would like at least 2 weeks advance notice so I can put out signs for the public that that grade crossing is going to be closed, set up busing and paving for that week. I'm unaware of the exact location of that line, but compared to the house, the asphalt we're going to be ripping out is 100+ feet away from it, and about 3 to 6 feet out from either side of the rail. So it's really just a tiny strip just to be able to remove the ties. It's not a full curb or anything like that.
Right, and I understand that, and if the engineers would go and look, our clean out is approximately 75 feet in front of the house because that's on our private property. The lateral and the city sewer that's a problem, there's a manhole that's actually closer to the intersection of Michigan Boulevard and 11th Street. It's actually to the east, and it is directly in the area where they're proposing to do the work. If I understood the request from Nichty correct, they're asking to close an area from like Vale and Tryon Streets, and then they're asking for this additional area at Michigan and 11th. I have no issue with the other side of the street and don't want to hold up the progress of Nichty to improve our tracks. Perhaps this board would consider allowing the closure on that side so that they can get started on their project, take the time to review the areas that the engineer from Nichty said he's not even familiar with the problems or the historical problems in this area. That in itself is a clear indication that the engineers from the sanitary district and Nichty need to be aware of this, because we know that the city sewer and the sanitary district has a history of problems with that manhole in that area. Why would we not want to make sure and do our due diligence that this is the right thing to do before we proceed? We do have some time. You will have another meeting. So if the board would consider, again, in the interest of moving Nichty forward, approve part of their request, but allow for the due diligence of the engineers to speak to the issue and make sure that everything is addressed so we don't compound the problem.
Well, as I said, I was fully unaware of this. We are going to do our due diligence. We will take care of it.
Great.
And with that in mind, Mr. President, I would make a motion that we table this closure till our next meeting. You're going to have to, Mr. Nichty, you're going to have to scamper just a little bit to get your signage up. But that will, in the next 2 weeks, we will bring the parties together and give you an assessment of where we stand, Mr. Purse. We
appreciate the fact that this board is being diligent about the work in the area. Thank you.
Okay, I apologize to Nichty, but we've got to take care of the municipality too. So that's my motion, Mr. President.
Okay, and if I might add, if we can get that meeting taken care of with sanitation and such, we could always call a special meeting just to vote on the issue and maybe get it to Nichty even sooner than 2 weeks from now.
I will get with sanitary immediately after our meeting and schedule the start of this activity, another meeting.
Thank you. So then I understand that we have a motion to table this issue and put it on our pending items list?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any more comments from anyone?
want to
Okay.
thank the board and thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Now we will move on to request for street closure. Whitney Man, the Tree Man Incorporated, 2367 North US Highway 35 is requesting a street closure located at 3001 Maple Street to use a 40-ton crane to remove a large hazardous tree. And this would take place on October 9th from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Is there anyone here from Tree Men? If you'd step up to the microphone, please. State your name and address for the record.
Brian Mann, 2367 North US 35 in LaPorte. I'm the owner of the Tree Man.
Okay, do you have any additional information that, for the board, or?
I mean, we were wanting to close the street between Garrettson and Boyd, but we're only gonna be impacting, we're only gonna be in front of 4 houses, so 2 of the houses we're working on the one tree, and the neighbor's allowing us to put a piece of equipment in their driveway, so they're aware that we're coming. The other people, we would, be able to move as needed to let them out of their driveways, but I don't think we'll, and then, then people can be able to drive one way or the other. It just would, make the tree has armillaria root rot, and it has a lot of decay, and it's just structurally unsound, so I don't want to rig the tree conventionally with ropes because it could shock the tree and fall over, and the tree's at danger of falling on the neighbor's driveway and possibly into the street.
Okay, thank you. And Lieutenant Lineski, or Captain Lineski, could not be here today because of a schedule change, but he did send me an email, and he said that the police department would recommend this closure. Any of the board?
Sir, is this it's not that tree that the top broke off of this past week, is it?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions from the board? Any comments or questions from the public? Hearing none, do we have a motion?
Make a motion to approve the request for street closure at 3001 Maple Street on October 9th, 2020, from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. for the removal of the tree.
Okay, we have a motion.
I'll support that motion.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next, we have request for stop signs. Doug Kring, 2937 Cleveland Ave, is requesting to have 2 stop signs placed at Cleveland Ave and Elmer Street and Cleveland Ave and Cole Court for public safety. Is Mr. Kring in the audience today? You want to step up, sir, to the table? Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, my name is Doug Kring, 2937 Cleveland Avenue. I'm the one that put in the request. The reason that we want, this sort of is wording wrong. It's either at Cleveland and Cole or Cleveland and Elmer, not and. The and should be an or instead, I guess.
Okay.
The reason I'm doing this, ever since they opened Cleveland Avenue all the way down to 400 North, we've seen an increase of traffic, which we expected we would. There's a lot of little kids in the neighborhood. People are using this as a shortcut to get to, I guess, this end of town or the north end of town. They're going about 45, 50 miles an hour here, not all the time, but, there's a lot of traffic going 45, 50 miles an hour. We don't expect the police to sit there 24/7. I mean, they have other things to do. I've also, in my neighborhood, drove along the other side streets that are like parallel to Cleveland, like Werble and Hollywood. Those roads are a little bit wider than ours. The west side does have streetlights. There is no streetlights on the east side. My neighbors and I have come up with a couple solutions, either take out and I measured it, it's a 6-foot grass. You have the street, the little curb, and then a section of grass, and then the sidewalk. Take the 6-foot section of grass out to widen the street out. I'm the only one where there's a telephone pole where there's not a street light, and that would be between 2730 or 2937 and 2933. I've gotten, and the only reason I'm doing this, I had a drunk that basically totaled my car and my son's car. Cars can be replaced. I have no problem with that. But someone's going to get killed out there. I've got kids that don't look across the street. And I can't sit there and play, the policeman too, because I'm not their parent. I can't tell, whatever. But the point is that if you look at all the side streets, say like Hollywood, Warble, Woodrow, there's one I'm forgetting. They're all wider than ours. We also came up with a solution because on the way here, and I've noticed this too, on the corner of Elmer and Hollywood, there's some bushes, the sidewalk, but there's bushes and they're sticking out. And basically to see if someone's coming toward the north, going, I guess, southbound, you have to stick your car out halfway in the street to see if someone's coming. And just, whatever's easier for a solution, either a street light between my house and my neighbor's house, take out the curb on that side, because like I said, I measured it, it's 6 feet. But whatever, something's got to be done because I have to park on the street, and if a neighbor were to park on the street, there's basically no room for like the garbage truck on, or the leaf, when my garbage is picked up for them to get through.
Okay.
Without going really slow.
Okay. Thank you. I do believe, though, that this request is for stop sign or
Yes.
two.
But we were coming up with other solutions.
Yeah, okay.
But the stop sign definitely would slow the traffic down.
Okay.
That's fine. That's what we're trying to do.
Okay. Again, Captain Lineski's not present today, but he did say that they would recommend this issue be tabled until the next meeting to allow time to inspect the two intersections and pull accident stats.
Okay, I do have one more question. I do have a petition here signed by my neighbors. Is there anybody I can give that to?
Yeah, you can leave it with us, and that'll be
Okay,
fine.
with anybody in particular?
You can leave it with me, that'll be fine.
Okay.
Okay?
How many,
If I were to go around and give it to someone over there, they can give it to you?
Yes.
Very well.
how many signatures are on the petition, sir?
Pardon me?
How many signatures on the petition?
23. Basically, everybody on my block that I could get a hold of. I know one person is a snowboard there in Florida. But basically, everybody on my block signed it that I did talk to.
Okay,
If you need a total, there's
that's all right.
23.
Close enough, thank you.
Okay. So with that, do we have a motion to table?
Make a motion to table this matter so that the traffic division can evaluate this and return at our next meeting.
I'll second that. Okay, any other comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. So we'll address this again at our next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll go around and give,
Okay.
this to one of them over there. And
Okay, yeah,
if they need
that'll
to
be
make a
just
copy,
fine.
we're good then. Thank you.
Okay. Michigan Boulevard. Okay, that's that. Okay, next item is approval of a quote. Jeff Wright, city engineers, requesting approval of the quote from HP Construction Services Incorporated to replace a damaged column on the Lighthouse Pier in the sum of $15,900. I know Mr. Wright's not here, but Mr. Shin indicated he had something to present for Mr. Wright.
My name is Ed Shin with the Michigan City Park and Recreation Department. I'm here to represent Michigan City Engineer Jeff Wright. To summarize, our request is for a quote approval by HP Construction to proceed with the structural repair on the catwalk. This ominous access to the navigational pier head is comprised of steel columns supporting an elevated walkway and is a national treasure. It has been revitalized by the Save the Catwalk Foundation and is in very satisfactory condition considering its age. However, there is one support column that has failed from the stresses and strains of its gale force environment. I commend the discovery of this disrepair by the IT department, Andrew Mechanic and Terry Borloff, but we should also thank and be thanking Jeff Wright and Mayor Perry for researching more cost-effective ways to save this catwalk. In conclusion, I'm hopeful that everyone will be in agreement to approve this quote in order to replace the damaged structural column and continue to save the catwalk. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Amber, have you had a chance to review these quotes at all?
Yes, Mr. Wright did secure 3 quotes pursuant to our purchasing policy because the estimated cost of construction was going to be under $50,000. HP Construction Services was the lowest, most responsive bidder in that case in the amount of $15,900. They have submitted their insurance.
Okay, that was my next question.
Signed proposed agreement, so everything is in order if this board approves it.
Okay. Does the board have any comments or questions? No. Hearing none, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion, Mr. President, to approve the bid of $15,900 for the repair of the damaged column.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next, we have 2, and we'll take them individually, but there are 2 demolition requests. The first is for 702 South Ashland Ave, owners Terry Logman Sr. and Richard Gersh and Terrence Logman Jr. Sue Downs Building Commissioner is requesting to solicit bids in approval of the bid package. Sue, I see you back there in the corner. Good morning.
Sue Downs, Michigan City and Planning and Inspection Department. These bids were both, or the demolitions were approved about a little over a year ago, but the demolitions are good for 2 years, so we're still good on that respect. And the funding for these has been secured through, well, for whichever of the 2, has been secured through CDBG and the Redevelopment Commission for the other one. So
Okay.
the funding is there for both as well.
Okay, but the demolition was approved by the previous board?
Correct.
Okay. Is there a reason why it wasn't acted upon at the time? Or?
The funds were redirected.
Okay, all right, thank you. Amber, do you have any comments about this?
No, Ms. Downs is correct. We have 2 years to get the demolition out for bid, and so we're within that 2-year period. Bids would be opened here on or before November, well, they're to be submitted to the clerk's office on or before November 2nd, would be opened at our meeting on November 2nd at 8:30 a.m.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any questions from the board? Questions, comments? Are any of the owners present today? No?
The actual owner is deceased.
Oh, okay, all right. If there's no questions, then motion from the board?
Yes, Mr. President, I'll make a motion to approve the solicitation of bids.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And next is demolition request for 235 F Street, owner Jamal Taylor. This, again, appears as though the order to demolish was last year. Same kind of story.
The house has done nothing but deteriorate even more. There's been nothing done whatsoever.
Okay,
No objections from,
okay. And is the owner of this property present? No? Okay. Any comments or questions from the board? No, hearing none, do we have a motion?
Yes, Mr. President, I'll make a motion to approve solicitation of bids.
And I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign, motion carries. Thank you.
thank you. And I'm going to hang out for Skylar since Skylar was.
Oh, okay, yeah. Next, we have dedication approval. Skylar York, Planning Director, is requesting dedication of a right-of-way of Woodland East Estates LLC, located in Woodland Avenue Estates subdivision. Skylar had talked to me last week briefly about this. Apparently, Wally Pritz has purchased all that wooded property on Woodland between Wellness and to the whatever the business is to the south there, just before the highway. And they've negotiated a right-of-way alongside Woodland there. And Sue, I'll let you go from there if you have some more information.
I think you pretty much summed it up.
Okay. And Amber, if you could please explain what dedication of a right-of-way is.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So basically, the board would be accepting this as the right-of-way formally, and it would be recorded as well. So there would be the ability to, I don't believe the roadway is there yet, is it, Ms. Downs? But the ability to construct the roadway in the near future, but this would be the deed of dedication where the city would accept it formally.
Okay, thank you. Any comments or questions from the board?
Yes, Mr. President, I have a comment. This is a project that's been kicking around for some time. A little bit difficulty getting it in a stage where it was approved, but the dedication of this right-of-way is important to Michigan City because what it is widening Woodland Ave along the strip where there are going to be 8 duplexes, and for some reason there was a sewer line run along that will be in this easement it was never dedicated, so it's Michigan City sewer on private property. So it's important that this easement be approved so that we can at least own the land that our sewer runs on.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments or questions from the board? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor signify by, oh, I'm sorry. I guess I have to have a motion first, don't I? Getting ahead of myself. So is there a motion?
I'll make a motion, Mr. President, that we approve this.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign, motion carries. Next, and this is for informational purposes only, the Michigan City Fire Department will be conducting their semi-annual fall fitness testing on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, beginning October 6th through October 29th, from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And I think each of you received in your packet where that will take place. And the next item, which is physical fitness Testing for the Michigan City Police Department, again, is for informational purposes only, and the department will be conducting their semi-annual fall physical fitness testing at the Michigan City Police Department on Tuesdays and Thursdays, beginning on Thursday, October 1st through October 29th from 10 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Any comments or questions on either of those? Don't think it's necessary. Next, we'll move on to the claims docket, which we have municipal claims in the amount of $523,507.13, CDBG in the amount of $43.95, Health and Life in the amount of $262,209.01, Zoo Casino, $159.99 for total claims of $785,920.08. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the claims docket for $785,920.08.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Next payroll docket, we have, we'll do these separately. September 25th, 2020 city payroll in the amount of $568,170.81. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the payroll docket for $568,170.81.
I'll support that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And finally, payroll of October 1st, 2020, the city pension total of $221,012.53. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion, Mr. President, to approve that city pension payroll docket in the amount of $221,012.53.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. Now we'll move on to unfinished business. We have James Taylor requesting roadway access on Huron Avenue and would also like a street light installed. We tabled this at our last meeting pending due to City Planner Skylar York wanting advice from City Engineer, Water and Sanitation to come up with a plan for temporary access. I don't know that anything has been provided at this point. So I would suggest we just leave this on our pending till next meeting. Okay. Next we have Assistant Chief David Cooney regarding the Axon cameras and charging bases. Last meeting, Mayor, you requested to table this, considering keeping a couple of cameras back. In discussing this with IT Director Andy Metanek and with others, the cost of new cameras is negligible. The cost comes into the licensing and the storage of the video. So I know that IT's suggestion would be basically we get new cameras for whatever you need for City Hall, whether it's inspections or for the Park Department, whatever, because the cost of those cameras is negligible. But even if we use the old Axon 2s, there's still going to be a cost for licensing and storage. Okay, so regardless, you have that in place.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. I trust Chief Cooney's knowledge of this issue.
Yes, we spoke.
All I'm looking for is one or two for the remainder of our administration to use, because I myself have been in situations, and I know other members of our administration have, where it would have been beneficial to have a video of the episode.
Okay, and I know that anything new purchased or any new licensing, the most advantageous way is to go through the police department to do this, because they already have the account, and then there would have to be the exchange of funds between the city and the police department to make that happen. So and again, I will be abstaining from this since I work for IT, but I think the advice is to go ahead with the destruction of the old Axon 2s and the charging stations, and then we work out the details of getting the new Axon 3s, as well as the licensing and the storage for whatever you might require for the city.
I'll make a motion to approve everything that you just said.
Okay.
And I will second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Now, Amber, do we also need to make a motion to take this off the list?
Yes,
So
I was
do we
just
have-
going to say that.
Okay, thank you.
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
we have a motion and a second to remove this item from pending items. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay. Next, we have Mr. Kenneth Pers again, and this is in relation to the appraisal on the Edward Street property. And I do believe we did receive an appraisal. I don't have that in my hot packet here, but
Yes, Mr. President. So at the last board meeting, this board ordered an appraisal of the property. The appraisal came back at the value of $9,300. And if the board is still interested in putting this parcel up for sale, the board needs to set the offering price. And by statute, that offering price should be the appraised value plus the cost of the appraisal and advertising and any type of recording fees, which in the past we've estimated to be approximately about $100. So when you add that all together, I think it's $9,725. In addition to setting that offering price, the board needs to also make some specific findings under the statute, more specifically that the board can make any of the findings, and I think all of them may be applicable, that the highest and best use of the track is the highest and best use of the track is a sale to the abutting landowner. The cost of maintaining the public property equals or exceeds the fair market value, and it would not be economically justifiable for us to proceed under Section 4 of this chapter that we're proceeding under. Chapter 4 would require the board to have 2 appraisals, and we couldn't sell below the second appraisal. So what this does, this section of the chapter in Indiana Code does, is it allows us to set the offering price so that any member of the public can come in and bid on the property. If they bid at or excess, then the statute basically says that we shall award to that person. However, if we get no offers other than an abutting landowner, then we have flexibility to negotiate with that landowner if it comes in under that offering price.
okay, and how long do we have to, this be open?
So we have to set it out for public bids. It's got to be, it's got to be out for publication. It's going to be published twice. We would be opening then at our first meeting in November, so it would be on November 2nd. When I originally drafted the documents, I assumed the appraisal would be in, so in my original documents, I had it opening on October 19th, but we technically need to have it by November 2nd. And then if anybody is wanting to make, an offer, they need to do it within 10 days after the second publication, so.
Okay. So, the first thing you mentioned.
So you've got to set the offering price.
Okay.
And then you've got to make specific findings that it would be in the best interest to sell this, that the best interest would be possibly that it would go to an abutting landowner and it would not be economically justifiable for us to proceed on the other code provisions which require 2 appraisals and us not being able to have the flexibility to take anything less than the second, like the lowest appraisal.
Okay.
So we have no flexibility to negotiate.
Okay. So first would be setting the asking price.
Correct.
Okay, so we need a motion.
I'll make a motion to set the asking price at the appraised cost plus cost in the sum of $9,725.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. I see Mr. Pers is up here at the table. Do you have any comments?
No, I'm just listening to counsel, and I believe she addressed the process as far as abutting property owners and public bidding and et cetera. Those were some of the questions that I had. She's addressed them, and I can review the statute myself, but I believe I understand the process.
Right, and
All right.
one of the other requirements from the statute is my office will send out certified letters to all abutting landowners as well.
And I'm just curious, when they say abutting, is that just only neighboring, or does that include across the street, across the alley? How does that work?
It would include across the street and alley. So
Okay.
anything that would, yeah.
Okay, very good.
Okay. So we have any more comments or questions from the board?
Do we need a finding? Do we need a finding now?
Yes, we also need to find, well,
Well-
I don't think you voted on the motion
No,
yet.
we've not voted on that yet. So we do have a motion and a second on setting the price at $9,725. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. Motion carries, okay. Now we have the findings. I'm not sure how that motion needs to be made.
Okay, I'll make the finding for the board that the sale of this property is the highest and best use to sell to the abutting landowner. And taking into consideration the costs to the city of maintaining this property, that is my position. I'd also say that, I'd also include that we not proceed under section or chapter 4 of the statute.
Correct.
Okay.
I'll second that motion, Mr. President. I also thank Ms. Keating for saying what she said. She's got more of a silver tongue than I do.
And I wouldn't have known what to do with it, so. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, and does that, what about the bid form? Do we have to approve a bid form as well?
If you can, please approve that bid form and the public notice that will go out as well.
Okay.
I'm sorry, good catch.
I'll make a motion to approve the bid form.
And I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. Okay, thank you. Now that should conclude that, correct?
Correct, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you.
A question, Mr. Chairman, will those bid forms be available from the clerk?
They will, but I will also send them out to all the abutting landowners as well by certified mail.
Very good, thank you. Thank the board for their action.
Thank you. Next, we'll move on to Bonita Schaaf from Michigan City Main Street Association regarding the approval, well, let's see, Indiana Humanities and the Office of Community and Rural Affairs. They were awarded their grant, but they still need approval of the design of the sculpture from the Public Arts Committee, and they need approval of where they're going to place that. Is anyone from that committee present today? No. Have you heard anything more?
You know, I sent an email out to Shannon Eason, who's the liaison for that board, and I have not heard anything else about that, where the Michigan City Art Committee is with regard to this project. And I don't believe Mr. Shint's in here any longer.
No, I think he left.
So I'll follow up with them again to see if I can't get any further information.
Then I'd recommend we leave this on the pending list for our next meeting. And I need to backtrack one step now. Do we need to remove this other item, the Edward Street item, from the list?
Yes.
Okay. Can I have a motion to remove the previous issue from our pending items list?
So moved.
Support.
And all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. Thank you. Next is Core Cambridge, 220 Gladys Street with the NIPSCO light. I know Jeff, I had emailed Jeff Wright last week to see if he'd heard anything from NIPSCO on that yet. I don't think that he has. I didn't hear back from him in any manner, but I would recommend we leave this on till our next meeting as well. Okay. Next, we have Shoreland Hills looking for streets being repaired, and I know we've tabled this in the past due to financial issues. So this one will remain on our list as well. Next item as well, John Chalikian. And I know Skylar's been working with them and they've had trouble getting back on that property. So we'll leave that one be. And finally, we have ordered to demolish 710 West 10th Street, owner Alexander Ristevsky, and Jason and James Stratton. This is on our pending list until October 19th, till our next meeting, so we'll leave that one be. And that should conclude all of our pending items. So now, are there any comments from the public about anything? Hearing none, any comments from the board? Hearing none, last order of business then will be adjournment. Do I have a motion?
Move to adjourn.
Support. We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. We are adjourned.